is one habit or possibly routine that we implement without even thinking about it that just really zaps our energy?
Yeah, starting off with that question is amazing, because I think what happens during the holiday season, as you mentioned, not only do we have all of these year-end things to accomplish, we're also given another full-time job of planning for the holidays, right? It can sometimes feel like that. So we're buying gifts, wrapping presents, planning parties, planning menus, going to parties, all of that. And it does create a lot of extra time on our calendar. So I would say that what happens with people is we're not very present, right? Here we are in the midst of, a holiday season where we're thinking about, hopefully we're thinking a little bit about like gratitude and spending time with family and friends and, enjoying each other. But I think there's a real lack of presence because of all that needs to get done. So trying to create small pockets of time where you can just slow down and really take in what's happening, it can change everything. Because I don't know about you, I'm a list maker. And I just want to be checking things off. Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Checking things off my list and accomplishing things. And we're just, I think, in a state of, whether it's, now, I don't remember it being so busy 25 years ago. I think with social media, with, all of the distractions, it's just very easy to not be present.
So when you're talking about that to-do list, I'm looking at this to-do list here, and there isn't one space here, one line here that says create a small pocket of time to do something. So when you're creating a small pocket of time, so could you share with Jim and I, are you talking 15 minutes, 30 minutes? Like what is a small pocket?
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to differ for everyone. You need to really, everyone just needs to identify what that looks like for them, because I'm at a stage in my life now where it's just me. My kids are 21 and 24. They're out on their own. So today looks very different than it did 5 years ago. 5 years ago, the pockets of time, I couldn't create an hour. I was juggling schedules, driving the kids all over, preparing meals, all of that. Today, it looks a little different. So I can take an hour and go for a walk. So it's really kind of getting in touch with individually, how much time do you have? What's realistic? Because we want to try and set ourselves up for success. So anytime we're trying to create a goal, a mini goal, we want to set ourselves up for success. So if you can only grab 5 minutes, grab 5 minutes.
It can be tough. It can be tough these days sometimes to grab 5 minutes. And now that we're here at the end of the year and the holiday season, it's even time is a precious thing right now.
Absolutely.
So with it, does it make sense to, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, to add it on to an end of a task?
That's a great idea, actually. I recently was thinking, we schedule our Zoom calls, right? We're all accustomed now to having, Zoom call after Zoom call, and our appointments run 60 minutes. I'm starting a trend, hopefully, and maybe you can join me, to make meetings 55 minutes or 25 minutes, to give a little buffer in between meeting, because we all need an opportunity to grab a glass of water or use the restroom in between these back-to-back meetings. So, shortening a meeting, maybe looking at your calendar. One of the things that I'm big on is looking at, and I might be jumping a little bit ahead here, but look at the holiday season and say, okay, how do I want to feel at the end of the holiday season? What is that going to look like for me? And if if you're identifying how you want to feel, so, I would love to feel relaxed, re-energized, renewed on some level, all of those things. But if I've got a calendar packed full of parties, commitments, I'm up till 2 a.m. wrapping presents, things like that, I'm probably not going to feel those things. So then you can look and say, okay, well, what can I do to maybe pull some things off my calendar? And it might be saying no to a couple of parties. It might be really creating that space on a Friday night instead of, going to a happy hour or something, going home and taking a bath. Just something that's really going to contribute to that overall goal.
You've mentioned a lot of things here with how did you say it? Mind, body, spirit here. So we're humans. And sometimes it takes us a while to actually dig down and make changes. When it comes to either treating or preventing burnout, what would be like the first step, the first simple step someone can take who right now probably is heading down that path of burnout?
So each of us are different, and each of us may know what to do, but not want to do it. So in talking with someone, I will always share what I think are the five kind of treatment steps to start with.
Okay.
And see which one resonates, which one they're more likely to want to start with. Because we each have preferences, and you might as well start where it feels a little easier. So those things the 5 things I promote are self-care.
Can I stop you there for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, first, just so our audience knows, Laura is a certified wellness coach. So, and on top of it, she is an RN and she is a burnout expert. So she's coming with experience to give us this. Okay, you say self-care. Self-care is so huge. Like, can you break that down?
Well, I go back to the body, mind, and spirit.
Okay.
And if I talk about it like that, your body needs hygiene, sleep, movement, nutritious food. Your brain needs the mental stimulation, and in physicians, they got plenty of that. It's the mental relaxation. Talk about it is not relaxation. It's not a relaxation exercise to lie on the couch with a beer in one hand and the remote in the other. That is not relaxation. That's escaping. That serves a purpose sometimes, but that is not truly resetting your nervous system. And we talk about hobbies and sense of joy. Most people know what they really need within there. Most people can self-identify that. Whether they want to act upon it is a different story. But if I lay it out, they can tell me what they most need. And what you most need on Monday may not be what you most need on Friday.
Which that is intriguing. But makes sense, because by Friday, you have used so much energy and so much brain power. Whereas Monday, depending upon how you spent your weekend, Monday, you're coming in a different place. You have more energy, you have more brain power. So I want to scoot back to, you had mentioned, not to be on this, not to consider relaxation on the couch, watching TV with a beer. What does relax the mind and body?
Actually being very present, being mindful, going for a walk in nature can. We've all got different preferences, spending time with friends, doing something where your brain is engaged. So a hobby, because you have to focus on that, and you can get kind of lost doing it. And then you reset when your brain is all focused on that one thing. A relaxation exercise, meditation can, is spacing out with the beer and the remote. Watching TV can be a great segue into a more productive part of the evening. So I'm not saying don't ever do it. That is not a solution, though. But things where you're actively engaged in what you're doing are much more restorative to your body and mind and nervous system.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for expanding on that topic there. Okay. So
Sure,
you
'cause I'll rush all around and rein me
So-
in.
so that was step number 1. So what's the next one?
Number 2 is actually, and these are in no particular order. Number 2 is compassion and self-compassion. And this is super hard for most people. It is easier for most people to practice compassion for others before they can practice it for themselves. But at some point, we need to get around to doing self-compassion. And that is basically treating ourselves as we would a friend. The things we tell ourselves, like, you're so dumb, you're a klutz, you'll never get that job, you'll never meet the right spouse, you're unlovable, you're this, you're that, you're too fat, you're too thin. We would never say that stuff to a friend, but we freely say it to ourselves, and that just isn't healthy. So self-compassion would be treating yourself with gentleness and kindness, acknowledging this is hard. I'm doing the best I can. What do I need right now? Maybe I need a nap. Maybe I need nutritious food. Maybe I need a break and just to step outside and be in nature for 5 minutes. Maybe I need to dance to my favorite song. So self-compassion is hard, but it changes so much. And it's a slow process working on that. And there are great resources for it. But that would be number 2.
That one I can definitely identify with. I mean, we had Jim, Laura and I meet every Monday. We do an accountability meeting every Monday. And yesterday it was me being aware of, I was not really down on myself, but I was not giving myself awareness for everything that has happened over the last 5 years. Because I was saying about, I still didn't finish this. I still didn't finish this. And Laura said, well, wait a second, realize what you have been through in the last, 4 years alone, the multiple surgeries, the 2 diagnoses, so it was, all the treatment that came with it. And when I thought about that, and what's crazy is today, a photo came up in my Facebook memories, and I was like, oh my goodness. And it was for a year ago, this time in 2018. And I thought, I was a year out of 15 months of chemo. I had finished, I was 9 months from a tumor being removed on my parotid gland. And in 6 months, I would be diagnosed a second time. I said, oh my goodness. So I sent her a text message, and I'm like, oh my goodness, when I look at this picture and I think about it, it just reminds me of our conversation yesterday. And that is something that I will be more aware of, is that self-compassion, that I have not been, that type A personality that is, go, 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 go. I will admit I'm an outcome junkie. So being aware of that self-compassion, Laura has been the one who is really, keeps reminding me of it.
Slow down. Your perfectionism and type A personalities do probably run a higher risk of burnout, just because their nature, plunging fully into things and not slowing to take care of their body.
I'm not a perfectionist. I will jump in and do something, but I am definitely, that outcome junkie. So, yes. Okay, so that's step 2. So, and I have to say, Jim also has a very strong work ethic. I will get emails from him, 1 o'clock in the mornings.
So I would have to say, Jim, when are you sleeping? You don't have to answer this live.
No, I do admit that sometimes I need to shut the brain down. Like last night, I think it was 3 in the morning, I popped up and sent out an email because it came up in my mind while I was sleeping. It's just something that I deal with all the time.
So another option could be a notepad at the side of the bed. You never get out of bed. You never turn on a device. You just hold pen and paper, make a note so you remember it.
Yeah, but I'd have to duplicate the action again. So I always come up with excuses. I know what you're saying, but I always come up with excuses. Why do it twice when I could do it once? But I think, now that I'm getting a little elderly here, it's it's starting to impact me more than when I was in my 20s and 30s. So
Yeah, we do not bounce back the same as we used to.
Yeah, definitely not.
Longer
And then
recovery time.
there's all that, the blue screen, you know, how the
Yeah.
blue screen actually then prolongs us getting back to sleep again.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually getting out of the bed can prolong it. Yeah,
Mhm.
letting your mind be active, because you're wondering, is email complete? It's not just making a note to yourself, it's actually typing a coherent email, proofreading it, all the steps with it.
you lay back down and you're trying to re-engage back into the good sleep, and you've already interrupted it. So
Okay, so that was 2.
Number 3 is having a sense of joy outside of work. And watching residents, the physicians in training, they don't have much time to themselves, and they don't have time for hobbies. A lot of us don't make time for our hobbies anymore. So ask yourself, what brings me joy? And am I doing it on a semi-regular basis? So having a source of joy outside of work would be number 3. Number 4 could be practicing mindfulness. And that, we can't be mindful 24/7. We wouldn't get much done. But little periods during the day, just pause for a moment or two. Like right now, we're all sitting in a chair. Just pause and listen. Use as many senses as you can. So listen to the sounds in your room. Feel the chair under you. Maybe touch the fabric of your pants. You feel the floor under your feet. Is there a breeze, a temperature, a fragrance in the room? Just tune in and be very present to where you are. Brushing your teeth is a great one to practice mindfulness with. You could taste the toothpaste, feel the foam, see it go down the sink, hear the water, see the water, feel the water. There's a lot going on if you tune in, but so many times we multitask and plan the day and are half getting dressed while we're brushing our teeth and opening the blinds and making the bed. Just pause and do that one thing as a solo activity. It gives closure to the brain, as well as just you're doing the one thing and your nervous system can kind of slow down. But our brain loves closure.
Okay, that's what I wanted to. Could you expand on that? What do you mean our brain loves closure? Our brain gets closure.
So if we're multitasking, like I might be, say, I'm cooking dinner, watching the kids do homework, trying to send an email, listen to a podcast. The homework might be done, but I'm still not done with all the other things. So I just kind of keep moving along, and then I pick up something else I'm doing at the same time. I never really have the sense of, oh, that is done. Like vacuuming or ironing is so easy to multitask while you're doing it. But if you pay attention, or mowing the grass, you can see, when you started, and you can see exactly when you're done. File is shut, filed away. Nobody has to think about that anymore because you can tell you're done. Whereas if you're doing a lot of different things at once, did I finish that? I've got to remember to go back. I've got one more step in that, but I'm doing this, and then I'm going to start this. And oh, now I can't remember, what did I do back there? It's like you had a million files open on your desk. You're not really sure what's going on. But if you can close each one, you can instantly see. Your brain loves to know that something's finished. So if you finish one thing, and brushing your teeth is not the most consequential thing you're going to do today, but it can be a source of closure. It can be a mindfulness activity. It can be a beautiful thing. Challenge you to brush your teeth now without thinking about that.
Or without listening to a podcast.
Yeah, and we do that. But we don't have to always do that, is the choice we could make.
And that's what a choice. It's up to us to make the choice to make changes.
Yeah. And then the last one is check your mindset. There's so much junk going on in our heads. We are so focused on the negative. Just keep a check on the self-talk. Are you looking for good, or are you looking for bad? Because your brain also wants to make you right. So if you're looking for the world as a scary, fearful, bad place, evil things happen out there, your brain's going to notice those things. Whereas if you're looking for good or beauty or joy, your brain is going to want to find that because it wants to make you be right. So shift what you're looking at. You can look at everything that went wrong, or you can look at what went right. And again, it's a choice that we can make. But the
Yes.
whole mindset thing is another one. So you're going to work, you're feeling burned out. Overall, you feel like the day was a failure. Can you zoom into one small thing that you felt good about? Can you zoom into one person-to-person interaction and have made eye contact, or have tried to help them, or made the world a slightly better place for someone? Kind of shrink it down and look for the good.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say those are the 5 things I start with.
Okay, which makes sense. And I wanted to spin off of the last one, look for the good. Whenever I work with any of my clients, when we start a meeting, the first thing we do is we go around the room and state, what is one good thing, what's your good news? What happened last week that was good news? And though I want them to say something professionally, because I'm there on a professional basis, I do say, if you want to say something that was good, that happened personally, go ahead and say it, because if it makes you feel good, it's going to make you feel.
And that really goes to the whole point of thanking people. I mean, it feels great to be thanked, but there's something about the giver of appreciation that connects with them, makes them physically feel better, makes their health better. We bring all of these things into our life simply because we're focusing on the things that are going well, the good things that we have in our life, and acknowledging those good things, those good events, those good people, and letting them know that we care about them and that we are grateful for them being in our lives.
Been in one of your keynotes before. I know that it also affects us health-wise, and you had a statistic, or you had some information there on the heart and how gratitude helps us that way. Can you share more?
Sure. And there's a lot of information at the Institute of Heart Math, which is where these research studies came from. But what they do is they take a look at how our emotions impact us physically. And in one of their studies, they compared frustration and appreciation and its impact on the heart. And what they found, they took a group of people, hooked them up to monitors, and put them through a period of frustration. And then they looked at their heart rate variability, which is basically the space between the heartbeats. So when you are frustrated, your heart is beating. It looks almost like a lie detector test. It's all jagged and uneven. But when they took those same people through a period of appreciation, you could actually see these smooth lines. It was more balanced. So we look at the physical impact of just what happens when we choose positive emotions versus making or letting ourselves wallow. And I am not certainly saying to never wallow, because sometimes there's nothing better than a good pity party. As long as you have a stop to it, you start to get to the point where you experience the rawness of whatever that anger is, that sadness, that depression, whatever it is, you feel that. But then when you start to come out of it, to say, okay, let me find one good thing about this. And when you can find one good thing, you're much more likely to be able to find the next thing and the next thing. And it leads us into choosing these positive emotions that do impact our health. Well, gratitude really begins with all of us. So in this season of gratitude and Thanksgiving, to find some kind of gratitude practice. For me, it's a daily gratitude journal where I write down 5 things for which I'm grateful every day. But look for ways to, there's in my Take 5 and Thrive challenge, there's 5 ways that you can do this on a daily basis. The first one is to write it down in a gratitude journal. The second one, to express appreciation. So verbally find excuses to thank people for the work that they do or for the good that they do. The thank you note, the letter of appreciation. What's the difference? in the world, according to Lisa Ryan, a thank you note is thank you for something. Thank you for dinner. Thank you for the gift. The letter of appreciation is thank you because this is this is how you have positively impacted my life. And the last one is to reflect on and meditate on gratitude. So you have 5 different ways. Bring more gratitude into your life, and it will be much easier to the world.